across the web. Step out of the echo chamber, go beyond the block, powered by our friends, Quantum Economics, Quantum Expeditions, and you too can join the largest network of creators, developers, CEOs, founders, and more online. QE.finance. The link is somewhere around here, over there. I don't know where they're putting the link, but you can log on and join the largest network around the world right there, QE.finance. Speaking of which, we're going to get into it with the CEO and founder of Quantum Economics, Mati Greenspan. We've got some questions for him, and we'll cover some of the biggest stories that maybe you might have missed from around the world and across the web, going beyond the block. First and foremost, though, let's bring in Mr. Mati Greenspan. Wall Street and Bitcoin. It's a combination kind of like chocolate and peanut butter. My question to you, sir, Bitcoin pulled back, but Wall Street, they keep expanding its exposure through new products. Does this look like a normal risk-off shakeout, or maybe the kind of reset that smart money uses to accumulate before the next leg higher? And what signs are maybe you watching for that tell you the market is ready to trend again?
Most interesting that Bitcoin, even though it has been reacted in a limited way to headlines, hasn't really followed the stock markets or other risk-on assets in a northerly fashion. It did puncture $78,000 per coin. So the range that we were tracking that was previously more or less flat between 65 to 75,000 is now an upward channel, but not a very strong upward channel. So if we want to, think about resumption of the upward trend, and end to the bear market, we'd want to see, a much stronger breakout, and then coming down to test the 75,000 level, 76,000 level as some sort of a support level. What was very interesting, I thought, was Kathy Woods from ARK Invest reassessing her target. She's now looking at $1.5 million per coin by 2030. What you got to understand is that the institutions and the bigger players in the market, they tend to move slower and have a much longer term outlook than most of your average crypto degens. And so, if you're looking at this long-term chart where you want to buy low and sell high, and if you're thinking about, a 2030 target of, $1.5 million, which is approximately 2,000% up from here, then now seems very attractive. But they're not all going to just pile in at once, especially before we get, confirmation that the bear market is over. We're watching ETF flows as well. Over the last 2 months, there was only one week of negative flows. That would be the week of March 22nd. As you can see, all other weeks are strongly green, and so that does point to institutional accumulation. As well, the open interest we can see has been traveling upwards since approximately February 24th, has been in an upward trend. So still not back anywhere near where the all-time highs or anything like that, but institutions are certainly taking a nibble at these levels.
He is the CEO and founder of Quantum Economics right there, Mr. Mati Greenspan. Give him a follow, add him to your timeline. And again, if you want to join the largest network of developers, creators, entrepreneurs, founders, devs, doing it all right now, QE.finance. You can sign up, you can join the team, add yourself to the map, and get yourself connected with the largest network out there. Some of the other stories trending or that have made some headlines from beyond the block. This is kind of crazy. A former OpenAI official making some extraordinary claims about AI, portals, and aliens. This story right now online, beyondtheblockmedia.com. A former OpenAI official making extraordinary claims about AI, portals, and aliens. This, as a former senior OpenAI official, has made stunning claims about the artificial intelligence company, saying that OpenAI is building what he described as portals that can actually summon aliens. The remarks appeared in Ronan Farrow and Andrew Mance's investigative feature in The New Yorker on OpenAI and Sam Altman. Look at this quote right here. "We're building portals from which we're genuinely summoning aliens. The portals currently exist in the United States and China, and Sam has added one in the Middle East." That would be Stargate UAE. Reuters also reporting that Stargate UAE project is part of OpenAI's broader international build-out. The claim instantly adds another surreal and headline-grabbing layer to the already intense debate around AI, power, secrecy, and the race to build even larger systems. Let's bring back in the CEO and founder, Mati Greenspan from Quantum Economics, as we continue here beyond the block, in case you missed it. The AI power scramble and Bitcoin's mining edge. With AI data centers, Bitcoin mining, electrification, all putting more pressures on the grid, is energy access, would you say, now becoming the most important bottleneck in the digital economy? And if that's true, where do you think the biggest opportunity sits for investors and operators, would you say?
It looks like the green energy experiment is in sharp decline at the moment. Wind and solar have not managed to prove themselves on the ground. It's very difficult to bet on right now, given that the conflict is about to resume. Last week we saw a very interesting phenomenon when a shoe company called Allbirds announced that they were pivoting to AI and AI compute in a single day. Just on that announcement, their stock shot up by 400%. And I think that this is very telling of where capital wants to flow at the moment. It's very clear that the capital that is on the sidelines is looking for AI compute, and anybody who can deliver that is going to be a clear winner, especially in the short term. And we can see that very clearly in the Bitcoin mining world as well, especially from where we sit with Quantum Expeditions, where crude oil is up and in general power prices are up, and so that makes the solutions like what we have with stranded energy all that much more attractive.
Another story trending online is getting some attention is this one. Online sources are fueling a new debate over whether artificial intelligence may be spotting major market-moving events before they're actually publicly confirmed. Now, in this case, Gemini was said to have identified signs of a massive crypto exploit before the story reached the wider news circle. The Aave price crash over the weekend and the recovery analysis. It's also raising bigger questions for finance and crypto users. Are AI systems occasionally detecting real signals before exchanges, companies, or reporters release the full story? Or are they simply generating highly believable scenarios that happen to sound right in the moment? The larger issue is trust, especially in a world moving faster than traditional verification. The challenge is no longer whether AI gets something right, it's whether anyone can know that in time to act on it. Once again, we'll turn our attention back to the markets and bring in CEO Mati Greenspan, founder of Quantum Economics, online QE.finance, where you too can join the largest network of developers, creators, entrepreneurs, founders, and more. Mati Greenspan, let's talk about tokenized assets, stablecoins, and the next crypto boom. As tokenized real-world assets and stablecoins keep gaining momentum, do you think that the next big crypto breakout comes from tokenized dollars, treasuries, and real-world financial rails rather than speculative altcoins? Or where do you think the most important value will actually accrue in that stack?
It's absolutely fascinating to see what's happening with RWA and tokenization of everything. According to data from RWA.xyz, it's very clear to see who the winners are. U.S. Treasury debt currently has approximately $14 billion worth of RWA assets, and then commodities are in close second, and then asset-backed credit third. It's not until the fourth tier, specialty finance, which accounts for about $1.5 billion, that we see some kind of semblance of the new economy emerging. And so what makes the most sense is that this trend continues, and it's not the newfangled assets that are going to have the biggest surge, but actually traditional finance, and things that are already out there coming on chain is the easiest path, or the low-hanging fruit. Still, a lot of room to grow, because if we go from $14 billion worth of treasuries There's about $39 trillion worth of treasuries outstanding today. So, if we just say all U.S. treasuries are coming on chain or something of that nature, that's still an increase of about 280,000%. So I wouldn't say that's about to happen today or tomorrow, but that's what we can probably expect if this trend continues. And then obviously, as you know, we have quantum-assets.io, which is our in-house mineral royalty properties, RWA, which actually sold out. We had the Agan unit, which was very attractive, but it actually sold out through traditional rails, which means it's basically sophisticated buyers are very interested in these products. And as soon as the geopolitics hit and the markets started to get a bit volatile, those properties were immediately snapped up by people who are familiar with these things, high net worth individuals, family offices, and so on. And so what this tells us is something that is very interesting, that these assets are quite well established. They have an amazing cash flow and ultimately great long-term outlook. But there's still a lot of ways to go as far as opening up access to everyday consumers and educating those consumers on what this can mean for personal portfolio or retail portfolio that is trying to be somewhat risk averse and is looking for long-term stability. And so we're rethinking a few things on our marketing side and how to reword it and where to place our advertisements to be the most effective. And we definitely have some good ideas coming up. Last but not least, I wanted to take a look at QE Coin, which basically ties our network together. Currently trading at only $189,000 market cap. Clearly it's been affected by all of the volatility and very negative sentiment that's happening around altcoins lately. However, we are in a very good position right now. The network has reached 482 members, which is approximately 40% increase since the start of the year. And then you can see the projects that we're currently building. Cora AI is getting a complete brain refactor. We've got Quantum Smash, which is also growing in the number of players, and we've got a great roadmap there. Deal Commanders, Quantum Assets that we just mentioned, Quantum Expeditions, and then the new partnership we announced last week with BTC PC, which is basically a compute or proof of work that contributes to solving real world problems, or AI compute, which is something that actually ties into just about everything else that we're doing here. So yeah, definitely take a look at Quantum Coin and consider it for your portfolio. Of course, anybody can join the Whale Club by holding 1 million QE in your wallet and connecting your wallet on QE.finance/whale-club. And we're very happy to see you there.
CEO Mati Greenspan and founder of Quantum Economics. Remember, not financial advice, but he does offer some really good life suggestions. You can connect with him, the team, and add yourself to the largest network of founders, devs, creators, coders, and more right there, QE.finance. Another story trending online, beyondtheblockmedia.com, is Congress is being warned to prepare now for a possible AI market crash. Congress should begin preparing now for the possibility that today's AI boom could end in a painful market correction. This is according to a new Vanderbilt report that argues the risks are no longer theoretical. The warning comes as trillions of dollars continue pouring into AI infrastructure, even though revenue growth has not kept pace with scale of that investment. Now, the report released by Vanderbilt Law School and authored by Vanderbilt Policy Accelerator AI and Tech Policy Director Asad Razmanali. I think I got that right, Razad. Anyways, he argues that the danger is not just overinvestment. He says the bigger problem may be the complicated financial web forming around the AI build-out, including cross-ownership, private credit structures, special purpose vehicles, and government incentives that could actually amplify losses if the trade turns. If the AI boom stumbles, the fallout may not stay contained inside Silicon Valley. And finally, we'll leave you with this one, as the IMF is sounding an alarm as U.S. debt is wiping out the Treasury's safe haven edge. The International Monetary Fund is warning that America's rising debt load is starting to chip away at one of the United States' biggest financial advantages: the extra confidence investors have long placed in U.S. Treasury bonds as the world's safest and most liquid asset. The fund's message is blunt. The window for an orderly fiscal adjustment is narrowing, and the United States can no longer rely on vague long-term promises to calm markets. Take the warning from the IMF and lay it next to this one here from former Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson, saying the U.S. needs an emergency plan if Treasury demand cracks. Former Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson is warning that U.S. officials should have an emergency break-the-glass plan ready in case demand for Treasuries suddenly weakens, saying a shock in the government bond market could turn vicious and leave Washington with fewer tools than it had during the 2008 crisis. So when taken together, you've got the IMF on one hand saying, hey, debt, Treasuries, looks like a problem, not a safe haven really anymore. Then last week, you've got former Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson saying the U.S. needs an emergency plan. Doesn't seem to bode well for the dollar right now, does it? That's going to do it for today from Beyond the Block. Remember, you can connect yourself with the largest network of developers, creators, financiers, economists, CEOs, and more online right there. QE.finance. Add yourself to the globe and start growing and connecting. Until next time, you know what we say: stay safe, stack sats, and hodl. That's not financial advice, but it has proven to be a darn good life suggestion over the years. All right, we'll see you.